They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want you.
Come on, hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Hello viewers, welcome to another exciting edition of Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. Since the passage of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, in 2003, the 9th December of every year has been set aside to mark the International Anti-Corruption Day. The main focus of celebrating the day is to raise public awareness on corruption and related issues and to inspire action to tackle the global menace. Today on the program, we shall focus on the 2023 International Anti-Corruption Day commemorated at the Shehu Musa Eradua Center, Abuja, with the theme, Uniting the World Against Corruption. Stay with us as we bring you details of the event shortly. But first, here is Ruth Awodi with Anti-Corruption Stories.
Welcome to this segment on Anti-Corruption Stories. I am Ruth Awodi. The new chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, has officially assumed office as the 5th substantive chairman of the commission. Dr. Aliyu arrived at the commission after he was earlier in the day sworn in by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the chamber of the State House. Speaking during his inaugural meeting with members of management staff, Dr. Aliyu thanked President Tinubu for finding him worthy of the position, stating that though the task ahead of him may be challenging, with the support of the management and the entire staff of ICPC, a lot of successes will be recorded under his watch. The new ICPC boss promised to be a humble and listening leader that will be ready to consult as well as to position himself ready to lead from the front.
I want to assure you, you will find me a leader who is humble, who will listen, and who will work with you as a team. And I am promising you and the country that I will live the example and I will live above board.
Speaking on behalf of the management staff, the secretary to the commission, Mr. Clifford Okpara-Audu, welcomed the new chairman and assured him that he has a great team to work with.
From my experience, I will have a great team here. From my experience, for the 1 month plus I've been around, I found this team very encouraging, very understanding, and I'm sure they will pass that on to you. What I have found in you so far will move this to the envy of other commissions and agencies. I assure you that we're going to, move this commission to the level that people will even envy us. This team is going to be formidable, I assure you that.
He expressed belief that with the interactions he has had with the new chairman, the commission was poised to surmount many of its challenges as he will hit the ground running. Dr. Aliyu, who hails from Birnin Kudu local government area of Jigawa State, bagged his law degree from the Bayero University, Ikano, in 2003 and was called to the Nigerian bar in 2004. He also obtained his master's in law degree LLM in Islamic law from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in 2011. The new ICPC boss also obtained a PhD degree in 2019 at the School of Law, University Utara, Malaysia, in constitutional law with a specialization in appointment and discipline of judicial officers in Nigeria. President Tinubu had on October 17, 2023 appointed Dr. Liu as the chairman of ICPC, after which he was screened by the Senate. Dr. Liu takes over from Professor Bolaji Owasonye, SAN, who has proceeded on a 3-month pre-end of tenure leave, which is expected to terminate on February 4th, 2024. That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Murna. Stay with us.
If you're just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go, and our focus is on the 2023 International Anti-Corruption Day. The theme for this year's celebration, UNCAC at 20, Uniting the World Against Corruption, is apt because the crusade against corruption should not be left to government alone, but should be a collective battle against corrupt practices and other related offenses. Delivering a goodwill message at the one-day event organized by the Interagency Task Team Against Corruption, the ICPC Secretary, Mr. Clifford Okparaodu, stated that the battle against corruption was not the sole responsibility of anti-graft agencies or government alone, but the collective responsibility of each and every citizen of Nigeria and the African continent. Speaking further, he said, ICPC on its part was poised to make the anti-corruption fight more effective and therefore aligned with the United Nations calls for a collective action with a sense of responsibility. Take a listen.
The vision of ICPC is to see Nigeria completely free of all forms of corruption and corrupt practices, while its mission is to rid Nigeria of corruption through law enforcement and preventive measures. Therefore, to achieve these goals, ICPC is supposed to making the fight against corruption agenda, good governance, actualize the sustainable development goals, and achieve what Jeremy Bentham postulates as the greatest happiness of the greatest number. These 30 goals align with the UN call for collective action with high sense of responsibility.
Delivering his keynote address, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, said that with the adoption of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2022 to 2026 showed the commitment of the present administration for its implementation through the strengthening of legal and institutional frameworks, as well as the mainstreaming of anti-corruption principles in governance and service delivery, both at the national, state, and local government levels.
The present administration is committed to the continuous deployment of digital technology to prevent, identify, manage conflicts of interest. The following are a few of the efforts of governments: automation of government processes, establishment of the Nigerian Open Contracting Portal, bank verification number, the IPs, Treasury single account, government integrated financial and management information system, deployment of an online crime reporting application called the Eagle Eye, online asset declaration, as we have been told. I use this opportunity to commend the IATT, the UNODC, the EU, all our donor partners, the CDD/MacArthur Foundation, for your support in the anti-corruption fight.
Also speaking at the event, the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI, Mr. Orji Obonnaya Orji, noted that 20 years after the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, significant improvements have been recorded. However, Mr. Orji added that the corruption was still a major constraint in the oil and gas mining sectors where the NEITI operates.
20 years after Nigeria adopted UNCAC, notable efforts have been made, no doubt. However, the latest corruption perception index that put Nigeria 154 out of 180 countries clearly shows that we are very, very far behind and far from reaching our destination. In the oil and gas and mining sectors where NEITI operates, corruption is still a major constraint to the realization of the impacts of the natural resources that this country has been endowed with. This is in spite of groundbreaking recommendations, courageous disclosures that NEITI has placed information and data on the table. Nigeria is still perhaps the only rich country that I know of in the whole world that is confronted with outright stealing of crude oil. I'm not aware of any other country where illegal mining is almost common everywhere. Outright stealing of crude and our national assets, pipeline vandalization, illegal mining, daylight stealing of solid minerals painfully by foreigners in collusion with our own citizens.
In their remarks on the celebration of this year's event, the head of the Technical Unit on Governance and Anti-Corruption Reforms, TUGA, Mrs. Jane Onwumere, the United Nations Office Drug and Crime, Dr. Oliver Stolpe, who was represented by his deputy, Danilo Gambis, all underscored the importance to collectively fight corruption and commended Nigeria for staying true to the cause of the UNCAC since its adoption.
This year actually represents 20 years of the adoption of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, the UNCAC. Nigeria was one of the early signatories to the convention and has since shown commitment to the fight against corruption by making sure our treaty obligations are fulfilled. Part of the initiatives is the joint commemoration of the International Anti-Corruption Day annually on the platform of the Interagency Task Team of Anti-Corruption Agencies. The coordinating forum of agencies with anti-corruption and accountability mandates with its secretariat and the Technical Unit on Governance and Anti-Corruption Reforms, TUGA. The IATT has since 2009 jointly commemorated this day. The global theme for this year's commemoration is UNCAC at 20, Uniting the World Against Corruption. This theme focuses on 20 years of implementation of the convention and provides an opportunity for state parties to the UNCAC to take stock of implementation. It also seeks to draw attention to the important role played by the UNCAC in uniting the world in the fight against corruption. This therefore gives us an opportunity to assess in detail our level of implementation of the convention, to celebrate our achievements and strategically address challenges to determine what more needs to be done both locally and internationally.
The main convention against corruption as you all know, is the only legally binding anti-corruption instrument and a unique tool for developing a comprehensive response to a global problem. The Convention covers a range of provisions that helps address different forms of corruption, including bribery, trading influence, abuse of functions, and various acts of corruption in the private sector. This year's theme for International Anti-Corruption Day is Uniting the World Against Corruption. Rightly so, because 2023 is the year we commemorate the 20th anniversary of the UNCAC. As we celebrate this milestone, we're also called to reflect on the positive changes brought about by the collective efforts driven by this convention. Equally crucial is our examination of the remaining gaps that require attention to ensure that this mechanism continues to be strengthened in the year ahead. Let's take time to delve into some of the achievements and lessons learned in the last 20 years. As the only legally binding instruments, 190 member states across the world are now signatories to the convention, of course, including Nigeria. As we already know, combating and preventing corruption requires a holistic framework and multi-sectoral approach. This has become even more important and relevant in the achievement of the SDG goal, the Sustainable Development Goals. Government partners, NGOs, civil society organizations, and citizens, including youth and women, must all join forces in preventing corruption at all levels.
You're still watching Corruption Must Go. The focus is still on the recently held 2023 International Anti-Corruption Day. The event also dovetailed into two panel discussions where discussants brainstorm on the national anti-corruption strategy and what needs to be done differently. Part of the highlights of the day was a secondary school debate.
Kofi Annan said, and I quote, "While the people play a minor role in corruption prevention, it is the responsibility of the government to create an environment that discourages corruption by establishing anti-corrupt bodies and executing stringent punishment for corrupt practices. The fight for corruption-free ethical social will have to be fought against this spirit and replace it with what I can give spirit. The corruption of the best is give rise to the worst. When good people in the end insist their vigilance and struggle, the evil man prevails. There is no doubt that corruption is the biggest and most embarrassing challenge in Nigeria. One of the greatest things that has happened to Nigeria since independence 63 years ago is the establishment of the anti-graft agency, as earlier mentioned by my author speaker. The situation in Nigeria today has become so embarrassing that corruption has taken a center place, while integrity, social justice, and unity of labor have been thrown overboard. Sadly, today we find people from both the private and public sectors who are only interested in making quick and easy money by diverting public funds to their pockets.
Which was won by Government Day Secondary School Dutse, Abuja.
I'll announce Government Day Secondary School Dutse, Government Secondary School Mabuchi. Government Day Secondary School Dutse. Please, your coffee. Come and have your coffee. The team leaders, the three of you, the teachers,
Some of the participants and UCO members shared their views with us at the event.
Corruption is a very serious stuff that's happening in this country, Nigeria, and that's affected Nigeria in many ways. I just pray that our country will try to move ahead. I pray that God keep us sustaining us, good leaders and good government officials in helping us exploring this country.
A lot of children who have the capability or ability to be in school, unfortunately not in school. And so this is depriving them a brighter future. And corruption has also seeped into the political sector. That means corruption has brought into power leaders who are not
being enlightened more. And coming from the point of view of ICPC, being the spokespeople about this corruption, I think I will be taking home a lot of keynotes on corruption today.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
There is no category of individual or even group of persons that is immune to the ravaging effects of corruption. Therefore, the time to collectively act against corruption is now. Remember, corruption is an ill wind that blows no one any good. Funds lost to it are 10 times the amount of official development assistance. Let us all speak up against it rather than becoming silent praise to the monster. Yes, united against corruption, we shall win the battle together. That's our package on this week's edition. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can also report corruption through our toll-free numbers also showing on your screen. You can also watch the program on our YouTube channel at ICPC Nigeria. See you again next week. Bye for now.